Kick-ass facts, more crazy-ass experiments. Pew, 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 pew! In case you're wondering, I've received feedback that he's distracting, so he's chilling over there. The Kola Super Deep Borehole, a Soviet experiment, started in 1970. The project attempted to drill as deep as possible into the Earth's crust. Drilling began in May 1970, and it became the deepest man-made hole in 1979. I mean, I could make a your mom joke, but I won't. And remains the deepest hole to this day, except your mom. The deepest borehole reached 12,262 meters, 40,230 feet, or 7,619 miles, depending where you're from. The dig provided a lot of scientific data, like the finding of ancient microscopic plankton fossils from 24 species. While nothing negative happened, there were concerns at the time that drilling so deep toward the center of the Earth might produce unexpected seismic effects, like cracking the planet open like a Kinder Egg. The drilling terminated in 1995 due to a lack of funds. The whole site is currently closed, unlike your mom. The United States has also embarked on a similar project in 1957, dubbed Project Mohole, which was intended to penetrate the shallow crust under the Pacific Ocean off of Mexico. After initial drilling, the project was abandoned in 1966 when funding was cut off. Beginning in 1946, the United States government engaged in illegal research experiments in which more than 5,000 uninformed and unconsenting Guatemalan people were intentionally infected with the bacteria that causes sexually transmitted diseases, including syphilis and gonorrhea. From 1945 until 1956, the subjects included orphans, prisoners, prostitutes, and military conscripts. Researchers used disease-infected prostitutes, injections, and other methods to make their subjects sick. Nearly 800 victims of the experiment sued Johns Hopkins University for $1 billion for its role in the study. In April 2022, a federal judge dismissed the suit. During the experiments, the following occurred, including but not limited to: prostitutes were infected with STDs and then provided for sex to subjects for intentional transmission of the disease. The pork and beans of male subjects were, content warning, all the warnings, scraped and scarified and then coated with the emulsion containing syphilis or gonorrhea. If you didn't heed the first warning, heed this one. A woman from a psychiatric hospital was injected with syphilis and then developed skin lesions and then had your last chance to scroll away. The gonorrheal pus from a male subject injected into both of her eyes. I know you regret staying now. When I tell you to fucking go, go. The Aversion Project, another trigger warning, is a medical torture program. It was instituted in South Africa between 1971 and 1989 to cure homosexuality in military conscripts. The policy, carried out under apartheid, included forced aversion therapy, treatments like electric shock therapy, and chemical castration. There is also evidence that sexual reassignment procedures took place on people who were unable to be cured. It was widely believed in the medical community at the time that homosexuality was a mental illness that could be cured. Dr. Aubrey Levin, in charge of the program as chief psychiatrist of the South African military, was eventually accused of human rights abuse by international organizations, and he was sentenced to 5 years, just 5 years, in prison on April 23, 2014. In 1920, John Watson, along with a graduate student, conducted an emotional conditioning experiment on a 9-month-old baby, whom they nicknamed Albert B. They were trying to prove the theory that we're all born as a blank slate and can be shaped. The child's mother, a wet nurse at the hospital, was paid $1 for her son's involvement. The little Albert experiment went like this. Researchers introduced the baby to a small white furry rat, and he paid no notice. Then they reintroduced him to the rat with a loud sound. Over and over, Albert was exposed to the rat and startling noises until he became frightened any time he saw any small furry animal, regardless of noise or regardless of what the animal was. He showed signs of behavioral and neurological impairment. However, they were unable to decondition him because he unfortunately passed away when he was only 6 years old.